The law of correspondence is not just some like dusty, mystical metaphor. It's actually a structural reality. And if you want to understand the galaxy, you look at the atom. It makes sense. If you want to understand your bank account, you look at your daily digital habits, as above, so below. And it means that the patterns at the highest level of your life are identical to the patterns at the lowest. Now, we aren't here to talk about, manifestation in some sort of airy-fairy kind of way. We're talking about fractal human behavior. A fractal shape is where the smallest part looks exactly like the whole. Your life is a fractal. If your car is filled with trash, your mental filing system is probably cluttered. If you lack discipline in your morning routine, you're going to lack precision in high-stakes negotiations. The scale changes, but the geometry remains the exact same. To really get how this works, we have to look at the idea that your external reality is basically a screen where your internal data is being projected. Most of us spend our entire lives trying to, scrub the screen, trying to change the movie. We try to fix the without through sheer force, manipulation, and hustle. We work 80 hours a week even to fix a financial situation because our internal above is still calibrated, and we fear that money either never shows up, or the second we get it, it'll disappear. That is lottery winner syndrome, a total failure of correspondence. Now, the external wealth doesn't match the internal architecture, so reality will collapse back down to the level of who you actually are inside. Think about the way that a hologram works. If you break a holographic plate into 1,000 tiny pieces, each individual piece will remain the exact same. It'll contain the entire image. That is correspondence. You are the plate. Every action you take, how you fold clothes, how you speak to a cashier, how you treat your body, contains the entire image of your destiny. You cannot have a broken part and expect a whole result. This is why a lot of people who find success in one area, like fitness, often see their business explode shortly after. They didn't just get stronger muscles, they updated the fractal. They shifted the below, and the above had no choice but to follow. Now, your external world is a delayed reflection of your internal state. Think about it like a light hitting a mirror, or there's a bit of a lag, but the image is inevitable. People try to change the reflection without moving the object in front of the mirror. They want a better job, so they send out 100 resumes, but if their internal correspondence is set to "I'm not good enough," they'll subconsciously pick companies that treat them like they aren't good enough. They'll ignore the red flags in the interview because those flags match their internal expectations of being undervalued. What I just went over? Where was I? They are caught in a loop where the without keeps confirming the within, and that creates a self-fulfilling prophecy that feels like bad luck, but is actually just perfect mathematical alignment. Now, to diagnose your own internal correspondence, you have to look at your automatic thoughts. If your code says life is a struggle, the law of correspondence dictates that your environment has to organize itself to prove you right. It has to. The universe is a closed loop of consistency. If you see yourself as a victim, you will literally go blind to opportunities for victory right in front of your face. Your brain's filter, the reticular activating system, I've mentioned this in past videos, will only let the data in that matches what you already believe. It's like wearing blue tinted glasses and wondering why everything looks blue. You aren't seeing the world as it is. You're seeing the world as you are, if that makes sense. So how do you know if your internal state actually shifted? You look at your below. Now, this is your physical body, your home, and your closest relationships. If your physical space is chaotic, you're leaking energy. You cannot build a massive empire on a foundation of unwashed dishes and unpaid bills. Why? Because macro success is built from micro habits. If you can't manage the small, the large will never be handed to you. You're essentially telling the system that you can't handle your current level of responsibility, so it would be a violation of natural law to give you more. It would be like trying to run high voltage electricity through a wire designed for a toaster. The wire would melt. You have to upgrade the wire of your daily character before you can carry the voltage of your ultimate goals. So look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Their average income, their health, their general vibe. That is your current correspondence point. You aren't an outlier. You're a data point in a cluster. Now, we often call this the law of averages but it's really just correspondence in social dynamics. Your internal vibration attracts the people who validate your current state. And if you're surrounded by people who do nothing but complain, it's because your internal frequency finds comfort in that renaissance. It feels safe because it matches. To change your above, you have to shift the cluster below. It's not cold, it's just physics. You have to outgrow your current resonance, which usually means a period of isolation while your new above searches for a new below. It's a lot of word, but it makes sense if you think about it. To actually leverage this, you have to engage in symbolic action. If you want a massive breakthrough in your career, do something radical to organize your home. When you clean, organize, and optimize these small things you can actually control, you send a signal through the fractal. You're updating the base code. You're proving that the below is finally ready to support a much, much larger above. And when the part changes, the whole is forced to adjust to keep the symmetry. Uh, and yeah, and that's why making your bed is such a cliche. It's the first geometric alignment of your day. It sets a scale for everything that comes after it. It is a declaration of order in the world of entropy. Now think about the biological side. Your cells work with the same logic as your entire body. Each cell takes in nutrients, processes the energy, and gets rid of waste. If a cell stops getting rid of waste, it will become toxic and eventually it will die. And if you stop getting rid of waste in your life, old clothes, toxic friends, stagnant ideas, or even even the digital clutter, the body of your life becomes toxic. The law demands flow. And sanitation in your closet corresponds to stagnation in your cash flow. If you feel stuck, it's usually because you are holding on to something that no longer corresponds to where you say you want to go. You have to create a vacuum for the new reality to rush into. Now, let's do a quick audit. Look at your computer desktop right now. Is it covered in random icons? That is a map of your current mental processing power. Every single unsorted file is an open loop in your subconscious, pulling on your attention. Now look at your health. Is your body a reflection of discipline or neglect? You can't have a disciplined mind and a neglected body for long. Eventually, one is going to pull the other into alignment. And if you want to master your mind, start by mastering with how you move through the day. High performers aren't obsessed with the gym just for the mirror. They're obsessed with the correspondence of mental toughness. They know that if they can dominate their physical urges, they can dominate their business rivals. Check your time management. Do you actually respect your own deadlines? If you tell yourself that you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. and then you hit snooze, you've created a correspondence of being dishonest with yourself. You have programmed your subconscious to know that your word means nothing to you. Because why would the world offer you a high value opportunity when your internal law says that your world isn't binding contract? Your word isn't a binding contract. To change your big results, your small actions have to be impeccable. You have to become the person who matches the success that you want before the success can even show up. You don't get the prize and then become the person. You become the person and then get the prize because it has no other choice. Stop waiting for a big break. A big break is literally just a moment that 1,000 small correspondences finally hit a tipping point. The macro follows the micro every single time. Sudden failures aren't usually sudden at all. If you look closer, the correspondence was falling in the right. If you look closer, the correspondence was failing in the small details for years. A bridge doesn't fall because of the last car, it falls because the internal rust finally stopped matching the weight of the traffic above. You are either building a bridge of integrity or a bridge of rust, one small decision at a time. And the law of correspondence is simply the ledger that keeps the score. Audit your life today. Find one small area that's a mess and fix it, not because that one thing actually matters so much, but because the pattern matters. And if you fix your money but keep a chaotic schedule, that chaos will eventually leak back into your bank account. You need universal correspondence. Your health, your home, your speech, and your thoughts, they all have to point towards the same exact goal. You are looking for congruence. When you're above and you're below are in perfect alignment, the resistance in your life disappears, you stop swimming against the current, and you start becoming the current itself. As within, so without. As above, so below. If you don't like what you see out there, look at what's going on in here. The math doesn't lie. The universe isn't punishing you, it's just reflecting you. It's a perfect impartial mirror. If you're standing in front of a mirror and you want the reflection to smile, you don't reach out and try to pull the reflection's face up. You smile first, and then the reflection has literally no choice but to smile back. Now that requires a level of faith, not religious, but a structural confidence in the laws of reality. You have to smile at the mirror while the reflection is still frowning. And that's the hardest part to accept because it puts 100% of the responsibility onto you. It takes away the ability to blame the economy, your upbringing, or bad luck. If this law is absolute, then everything you see right now is a result of your internal calibration. That can be heavy, or it can be the most liberating thing that you've ever realized. Because if you're the cause, you're also the cure. You are the architect, the builder, and the resident of your own reality. If you don't like the house, you don't need to move. You need to change the blueprints. The shift isn't instant. There's a buffer period, in the physical world. Change happens in the mind quickly, but it takes time to crystallize in matter. This is where most people quit. They change their thoughts for a week. They see no change in their bank account and they decide that the law doesn't work. But they forgot about the latency. You're in the latency period. You have to keep up the new correspondence until the physical world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your new internal density. Think of it like a massive ship. You turn the wheel, but it takes a while for the boat to actually point in the new direction. Don't stop turning it because then it was all for nothing. Stay the course. Keep the symmetry. Guard the small things with the same fire you used to dream about the big things. Treat your smallest task as if it were your greatest masterpiece. And even when you live with that level of correspondence, you become a force of nature. Now the math doesn't lie. The geometry is fixed. Stop fighting the reflection. Change the source. I appreciate you all watching. I was talking a lot on this. My voice is kind of going away, but if you guys enjoyed, make sure you subscribe. I post one of these videos every single day on a different part of manifestation that helped me get this McLaren I'm sitting in right now, and how I'm doing $80,000 days on dropshipping with Shopify. So I appreciate you all watching. I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Peace out.